Okay, so moving on to our final task in the 2020 practical paper, where we come on to task B4. Okay, it's a word processing task. Okay, so we will be using Microsoft Word for this task. Over here, they say, open a new word processing document, enter task B4A, your name, candidate number, and center number in the header, and save the document as task B4A. So let's go into our folder. Let's right click and say new Word document, which is over here. And the name of this document would be task B4A. And let's immediately go into the header. And let's say task B4A, your name, your candidate number, and your center number. Okay. So the header part is now complete. Let's close the header and footer. And let's go back into our question. Lucia wants you to create a newsletter to send to potential clients to promote the holiday accommodation available. Use the information in the newsletter document for this task. Okay, so you have to use information in the newsletter document. So do check whether you have the document with you. Yes, I do have the document with me. And over here, all the information that I need for the newsletter can be found inside this document. Okay. Then the question paper goes on to say, create the newsletter based on the design on page 19. Okay, so in the next page over here, the design has been given to you. Okay, let me zoom out so you can see the whole design. So this is the layout. This is the design that you need to be following. Okay, so let's start from top to bottom. So first thing they have told us is the background color of the page should be pale blue. So let's come into our Word document and let's go into the design tab. And for page color, let's select pale blue. Okay, so change number 1 is done. Change number 2, we are supposed to insert the logo over here. Okay, so somewhere on the top left, the logo has to be inserted. So let's go into our document, LG logo, Control C, shortcut key to copy. Let's come into Microsoft Word and Control V, shortcut key to paste it. Okay, logo is of course way too big. Let's make it slightly smaller. So from picture format, wrap text, I'm going to make it behind text. So now I can make it smaller. And then I can also freely move it a little bit to the left. Okay, perfect. Okay, the reason I put wrap text is so that I can freely move the image to the left-hand side. If you do not enable wrap text, it will not allow you to freely move the image. Okay, right. The next thing is it says all text. Over here it says all text should be black color and size 11 unless stated otherwise. Okay, then on the right-hand side, you can see there is a big box over here. Inside this box, you have image of stone cottage, and then you have the text newsletter number 1, August 2020. Okay, so let's insert this box first, this rectangle first. Let's first insert this rectangle. So let's come into insert. Let's come into shapes, and let's take this rectangle from here, and let's draw it from here to here. Okay, so of course there will be no fill. So I'll click on the shape, and in the shape format tab, under shape fill, I will say no fill. And for the outline, I will make it black color. Okay, so shape outline, make it black. Okay, now I need to get this image inside. Over here, it says image of stone cottage. So let's make this slightly bigger. Okay, so let's go into our images folder and locate the image of stone cottage, which is over here. So Control C. Let's come into Microsoft Word and Control V. Let's first make the image small enough so that it can fit the shape. Okay, so now I have made it small enough. Now what I need to do is I need to wrap text it. Okay, so picture format, wrap text, behind text. Okay, so once you do this, you can now freely move the image wherever you want. Okay, so now you click onto it and take it inside this box. Okay, it's slightly too big. Let's make it slightly smaller and keep it over here. Let's make this box slightly bigger, longer. There you go. The next thing that needs to come is newsletter number 1, August 2020. So let's insert another text box and say, draw text box from here to here. And over here, we say newsletter number 20, August 2020. Newsletter number 1, sorry. There is a spelling mistake over here. Okay, in the question paper, they have clearly told us that the text box should be dark gray in background color. It should have white text and it should be size 14 and a sans serif font. Okay, let's do them one by one. So let's click on this. Let's come into shape format, shape fill. Let's take a dark gray color. Next, there's just one more thing that came into my mind, which is the gap between the newsletter, the first sentence and the second sentence is too much. So I'm going to press delete. I'm going to keep the cursor here. The cursor is after one. Where do I'm keeping the cursor after one and I'm going to press delete. Okay, now August 2020 has come up. Instead of pressing enter, I'm going to press shift enter. So that the gap between the two lines will be very, very small, very minimal. Okay, shift enter. Okay, so I missed August. Let's try it again. Shift enter. Okay, now this is supposed to be white color. According to the paper, this text has to be white color. Let's make it white. It has to be size 14. Let's make it size 14. And it has to be a sans serif font. So when we say sans serif, we are referring to a font that does not have any pointy edges. Okay, so any font that doesn't have any pointy edges is fine. Or if you're not sure about it, you can simply come and take Microsoft sans serif. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, right, that's fine. Okay, that's done. Right. Now, the next thing to be done, so up to this point, we are done. Up to this point, we are done. The next thing is you can see there are two lines over here, and then we have three circles and we have the text newsletter. Okay, so let's get that done now, these two lines. So I'm going to go into insert. I'm going to go into shapes. I'm going to take a line and I'm going to draw it over here. Let's draw it over here from here up to here. Okay. Now, before I draw the next line, let me first do everything that needs to be done for this line so that I can simply copy and paste it. Okay, so it should be a black line and it should be 1 point in weight. Okay, so let's click on this. Let's come to shape outline. Let's make it black. And for shape weight, for the weight, let's make it 1 point. Right now, it was half a point. I'm making it 1 point now. Okay, so now it's 1 point. Now, is there anything else to be done for the line? No, there isn't. So now I'm just going to copy and paste this line. Okay, so Control C, Control V, and then with the arrow keys, bring it down somewhere over here. Okay, perfect. Now we need to get three circles. Okay, gray, yellow, and purple. Let me first get the first circle. So we can come into insert shapes and take the first circle and let's draw it over here. Something like this. Slightly up. Okay. And this circle is supposed to be gray in color. So shape format tab, shape fill, I want it to be gray. And I don't want there to be any outline. So instead of drawing the circle again, simply do a copy and paste. So Control C, Control V. And then with the arrow keys, arrange it. Okay. And let's make this, what color should this be? It should be yellow color. And again, Control V. And this should be purple color. Shape fill, purple. Okay. Right. The next thing that needs to appear is the text newsletter. As you can see, half of the letter N is on top of the purple fill. Let us first insert the text. Thereafter, we can do the size adjustment and all that. Okay. So let's come into insert. Let's come into text box. Where is text box? Text box is over here. Draw text box. Okay. So let's draw it somewhere from here to here. Okay. And let's put the text newsletter. Okay. Now let's go back to our paper and see what is the size. So it should be a sans serif font. It means it should be a font that does not have any pointy edges and it should be size 40. Okay, so let's make this Microsoft sans serif and it should be size 40. Okay, perfect. Now, of course, you should understand that this text box over here, the text box over here, it should not have any fill. It should not have any outline. Okay. So let's come into shape format, shape fill, no fill, shape outline, no outline. Okay. Now click on the border of your text box, click on the border of your text box and just adjust it with your arrow keys. Okay, where half of N is touching the purple color. Okay, now now it looks perfect. Okay, right. The next thing that needs to be done is we need to have another text box for the accommodation. Okay, so let's get this text box also done. Let's come to insert text box, draw text box, and let's draw it from here all the way up to here maybe. And let's type in the text, the title accommodation, accommodation. And according to our paper, it has to be center aligned. It should be sans serif and size 18. Okay, so select it. So center align shortcut key is Control E, or you can simply click on center. It should be size 18 and sans serif. Size 18 and Microsoft sans serif. Okay, perfect. Then, so the accommodation text also we need to copy and paste it over here. So let's copy and paste it. So in our newsletter document, we have the text for accommodation. Let's copy and paste it. Control C. And let's come over here, keep the cursor. So let's keep the cursor, press enter. Now for the text, they haven't told whether it should be center or left or right. They haven't told. So I'm going to keep it center. They have told centered only for the title accommodation. For the text that we're going to include now, they haven't told whether it should be center, left or right. Okay. So I'm going to go back into left. I'm going to go back into left. I'm going to paste the information. Okay. And the gold, silver, and bronze should be in bullet form. As you can see, the question paper has told, include bullets for the rating gold, silver, and bronze. So over here, we have gold. So I'm going to press enter. And I'm going to make it a bullet point. Over here, we have bullet points. So bullet. And then I'm going to erase the comma and take silver down. And then I'm going to erase and press enter and make this a separate bullet point. Okay. So now this should not be in bullet form. So I'm going to press enter. Now this point should not be in bullet form. It should be normal text. So I'm going to click on bullet again so that it gets removed. Okay. Remove it. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So remember guys, do remember in our paper, they told all text should be black and size 11. Okay. So let's come back over here. And let's make this size 11. Okay, it's already size 11. And this unnecessary space, let's reduce it. Okay, right. Then if you look on the right-hand side, you can see the remaining text appears over here. Okay, the remaining text appears over here. And it appears in 2 columns. Okay, as you can see, the text appears in 2 columns. So what we'll do is we'll first copy and paste the text. Thereafter, we'll put it into 2 columns, and thereafter we'll bring it a lot to the right-hand side. You can see it's on the right-hand side of the newsletter. On the left, you have this text box for accommodation, and the other text appears on the right-hand side of the paper. So let's go and copy and paste the text, additional information. Let's copy it. Control C. Let's come to Microsoft Word. Let's double click here. Let's double click over here and press Control V. So now the information has got pasted. Let's break it into 2 columns first. Okay, let's select all this information. Okay, so I have selected all the information. Let's go into the layout tab. Let's go into the layout tab, columns, and let's break it into 2 columns. Okay, so now the information has been broken into 2 columns. However, I want to push this onto the right-hand side. Okay, right now it's not visible because it's behind the text box as well. So how do I push this onto the right-hand side? In the home tab, you have something called indent. Okay, so you can either decrease your indent or you can increase your indent. So when I increase my indent, can you see the description? Moves your paragraph further away from the margin. So it will be pushed a lot more to the right side. Okay, so let's increase the indent. Increase, 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 increase. Okay, that's a little too much. Let's decrease it. Okay, let's keep it like this, because if I increase it anymore, it's jumping onto the next page. So let's decrease it and keep it like this. And over here, you can see there is some unnecessary space. So I'm going to press backspace. And over here, I will have to make this also slightly smaller. Okay, 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 okay. Perfect. Okay, a little more maybe. Accommodation. Let's take accommodation a little more to the left. More to the left. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I have got the text into 2 columns. Okay, if you want to reduce the gap between these 2 columns, If you want to reduce the gap between these two columns, you can select the two columns. You can come to layout. You can come to columns, more columns. And over here, the spacing, you can reduce it, but it will not have such a big effect. Let's make it 0.1 and say, okay. So it reduced very little only, it reduced. Okay, that's the maximum you can reduce it. Okay, right. The next thing that needs to be done is, you can see we have to put the caravan 2 image in between both of these paragraphs, in between both of these columns. Okay, so let's go and get caravan 2. So caravan 2 image is over here. Let's copy it. Let's come to Microsoft Word. Let's keep the cursor over here. So I have kept the cursor over here and Control V. So the image has got pasted. It's way too big. Let's first make it small. Okay. And the next thing is, I want to freely move it in between these two columns. So yes, you have to wrap text it first. Otherwise, you cannot properly move it. So let's come to wrap text and say tight. Okay. And then let's bring the image somewhere over here. Perfect. Okay. So you have now got your image in between both of these columns. Okay. Right. What's remaining to be done is you have to have an image of narrow boats on the left hand side. Let's go and get that. Let's go to our images folder and let's get this image of narrow boats. I'm going to go with the first one, Control C, and I'm going to paste it over here, Control V. It's way too big. Let's make it smaller. So now I want to bring it over here, but I have to first wrap text it. So I'm going to come to picture format and wrap text it, and I'm going to say make it behind text so that I can freely bring it all the way over here. Okay, perfect. Okay, all the way over here. Okay, so below this, I have to also insert a caption according to the question paper. So there are two ways you can do the caption. You can right click and say caption, insert caption. That is one. So you can say narrow boat. Narrow boat. This is one way. Okay. Or else the second way, I'm going to undo this. Second way you can simply put a text box. You can say draw text box. And you can draw a text box from here to here. And you can say narrow boat. Okay. So let's make it size 11 like the paper told. Let's center align it. Let's get rid of this shapes, background shape fill, no fill. Okay. Right. Now let's make this slightly smaller. Okay. Now what's remaining is we need to get this table done. Okay. We have a table. So the table has how many rows? It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 rows and 2 columns. So getting the table exactly in this gap will be difficult. So what I'll do is I'll insert a text box, and inside that text box, I'll get the table drawn. Okay, so let's draw a text box over here. So some of the text is going over there. Okay. And now inside this, let's come to insert table, 6 rows and 2 columns. Okay, perfect. So over here, it says dark gray background. So the first row, as you can see, is merged. Let's go and merge the first row. Let's go and merge it. So let's click on layout and say merge cells. Okay. And thereafter, you can see it says dark gray background. So let's come to table design, shading, and put it dark gray. And yellow background for the other cells. Okay, so let's select all of these and make it yellow. Shading yellow. Okay, right. So now what is the text we put over here? The text we have to put over here is we simply have to start copying and pasting this. Control C, Control V. Then we come here, Control C, Control V. So one by one, you have to copy each row. This might be a little messy. Okay, so may take some time. As you can see, your table has taken more space than required. So let's remove the unnecessary space. So let's keep the cursor over here at the end of E. Click at the end of E. Okay, and then press delete. So that unnecessary space below will be removed, deleted. That space is taken off. Over here also after E, I'm keeping the cursor. I'm pressing delete, 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 delete. I think I do it for here. Over after coming soon, delete, take up that unnecessary space. Keep the cursor over here, delete, take that unnecessary space. Keep the cursor over here, delete, take that unnecessary space. Now you can paste the final one, okay? Right, okay? Anything else to be done? So you have pasted all the information. Okay, right. So now, of course, we have to get rid of this text box. We shouldn't show it. So we'll click shape fill, no fill, sorry, no fill, and shape outline, no outline. Right, there you go. So this is how your newsletter looks. Okay, this is what you have done. Okay, and now the next thing the question paper tells you to do is save the newsletter as new clients. So save it as new clients. So file, save as. So save it in your same folder, and you have to save it as new clients and click on save. Okay, so with that, you have come to the end of your newsletter. Okay, then there is another part, task B4B. So you have to open a new Word document, enter these details in the header and save the document as task B4B. So let's do that. And then with that, we would be coming to the end of this paper. So task B4B, let's open it. Let's go into the header. Task B4B, your name, your candidate number, and your center number. Okay, let's zoom in. So the first question it asks over here is, comment on your newsletter, how it compares to Lucia's design. So if you compare your newsletter and the design given to you by the paper, given to you by Lucia, how does it, I mean, any comment you can place. So when I look at my poster versus Lucia's requirements, I would first say the text wrapping or the information that I inserted does not look exact as Lucia requires. So I can say, what was this information called? This information was the additional information part. So I can first say that. So question number what? Sorry, it's the first question. Okay, so I can put Roman number 1. I can say the part where I inserted additional information does not look exactly like Lucia's design. Okay. You can say my columns are further apart from each other. Okay. You can mention something like this. Okay. For you, if it looks very much similar to Lucia's design, then of course you can't mention it. We can mention something else that is different or something else that looks similar. Any comment would be fine. Okay. Between your design and Lucia's design. The second question says, Lucia wants to create a letter to send to customers. Explain one benefit to Lucia of using mail merge to do this. Okay, so benefit of using mail merge. Let's put the question number over here. So you can say the benefit of using mail merge is that Lucia will have to type out the letter only once. Okay, so only once she will have to type out the letter, and thereafter, once she connects the letter to her contact source, automatically the computer would create a personalized letter for each, you could say recipient, or for each contact. Whoever is going to receive it will get a separate letter for each contact. Okay, so this is the benefit of using mail merge. Instead of her typing out separate letters to each person, she only types it out once, connects it to her data source, and then automatically each person will be receiving a personalized letter. Okay, after she connects it to her contact source, of course. Okay, so that's what I have mentioned over here. The next benefit Give one reason why standard conventions such as salutations are used when writing letters. So when salutations such as dear sir, madam, okay, to whom it may concern, okay. The reason we have salutations is in order to maintain the formality of the letter, okay. So you can say salutations are used to maintain the formality of the letter and also greet the reader in a formal way, okay, in order to greet the reader in a formal way. And then finally, the last one, state one reason why it is important to use sensible file names when saving files. So you can say it is easier to find the file later on, okay. You can say so that it would be easier to locate and identify the file later on. Okay, so this is the reason why we use sensible file names. So as soon as you look at the file, you know what is the content inside it. Okay, so with that, then we have come to the end of task B4B and the end of this paper. Okay. Hope you guys found it beneficial. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up then.